Hey guys, welcome back to our Mermay 2020 video series. We're about halfway through the month now, and I gotta be honest, it has been pretty exhausting coming up with all of these characters and lore, but it's also been a lot of fun, and I'm really happy with a lot of the ideas I've come up with so far, especially this week. If you're just joining us for the first time, you'll want to catch up with the first 2 weeks of Mermay videos. I'll link them down in the description. They'll also explain what exactly Mermay is and what's going on with this series. And now, if you're all caught up, we can begin week 3 of our Mermay drawing challenge. take a shot every time I say Mermay, wow. Okay, let's begin. Day 15, Cave. You're gonna think I'm reaching here when I tell you that there was a good reason for me to do another crustacean design, but hear me out. Lobsters are awesome. That's not my whole argument, but it's a big part of it. The other part is that, when they molt, lobsters need to seek shelter from predators, as the molting process is very long and exhausting, and it leaves them without their protective shell for several hours. This put the idea in my head of a character that isolates himself from the rest of his peers, hiding away in a cave, not only to physically protect himself, but also to protect his ideas. Nephromaris' soft shell was going to look more like a human and more friendly than most of my previous mermaids because I wanted him to feel like an ally. Good boy, heckin' friendo, precious cinnamon bun. Anyway, I love him. He's one of my favorites so far. This was the story that I wrote to go along with him.
I guess I was wrong about these creatures. Well, some of them, at least. Earlier today, my life was saved by a very unexpected hero. A half-man, half-lobster abyss person named Nephromaris. He told me that he has been obsessed with the surface world and my species for his entire life, and has been ostracized by his people because of it. I was wary to believe him at first, seeing his collection of human memorabilia scattered around the cave, which included several human bones. But he assured me that he found them on one of his many expeditions up to the surface. Yeah, he knows how to find the surface. He might be our ticket out of here. I have to go now. He says that my arrival couldn't have come at a more perfect time. You see, he's molting soon and needs someone to help him out of his tattooed shell. I'm not looking forward to this.
Okay, day 16 was Volcanic, and I'm pretty disappointed with myself on this one. I don't know what happened. Maybe I rushed it, maybe I need more reference, but this was one of my least favorite pieces so far. Which is a shame, because the prompt Volcanic really has a lot of potential. I watched this video where an undersea volcano was spewing lava into the cold water, and it was like instantly cooling into rock, and as it cooled, more lava spilled out from the newly formed rock. It gave this impression of like a live serpent kind of slithering out of the rocks. I don't know. I went with the moray eel, and I tried to have a very narrative composition, but I'm just not happy with it. This character was important for the lore, though, so here's her story.
Nephromaris' secret to escaping the Abyss Realm lies in the long-dormant volcanic tubes that run through the surrounding rocks. The tunnels are pitch black, and without the aid of his friend Mermay, we would never be able to navigate our way through. The only tricky part is we'll be leaving the protective bubble that surrounds the Abyss Realm, and at a certain point in the tunnels, I'll once again lose the ability to breathe underwater. I'm not sure if this escape is possible.
On day 17, I had the prompt Seaweed, At this point, the story I was creating allowed me to expand outside of the bottom of the ocean and diversify with the references that I was using for inspiration. Obviously, seaweed can't grow in the Mariana Trench because there's no sunlight, but because the story was taking our characters out of the abyss and into the light, I used a kelp forest as my point of reference for this mermaid. The animal I most associate with kelp forests is the sea lion, and I thought that a mermaid based off of one of them would be really cute. So my day 17 design was part sea lion, part human, and part Mad Hair Day. I had a lot of fun with Ilaria. She made me feel a lot better about how much I disliked my previous day's prompt. This was her lore.
I'm not sure exactly what happened. I passed out somewhere in the tunnels up to the surface, but I woke up on the beach. Dry land, rocks, sand, air. It was almost harder to believe than the world of fish people and magic that I had grown so used to. I don't know where Nefermaris or Mermay went, but I get the sense that someone is still watching me. I could swear that the piles of kelp washed up on the beach are moving from time to time.
I went back and forth a bunch with the prompt of webbing for day 18. I wanted to start introducing some freshwater mermaids since the story had progressed onto dry land. My first idea was a duck, and I was kind of excited about it, but with the little time that I had, I just couldn't get the design to a place where I was happy with it. I also considered it a frog, but it was just looking too weird. Instead, I dragged the narrative back down into the abyss, continuing the story of the captain and the rest of the crew. This way I could finally include a cephalopod mermaid, and the most tempting of all of the options I had laid out before me was the vampire squid. I felt like this was just a little rushed and not all that creative, but my main goal with these designs is just to have something done every day, which can be hard. So I'm more or less happy with what I came up with. Here is the story segment that accompanies this character.
I don't think the crew is safe here anymore. Riker has been missing for some time now, and since his disappearance, the Abyss people have become more and more hostile. We've been assigned a bodyguard to supervise and protect us, Otuthis, but she feels less like a guardian and more like a warden. She won't let any of us out of her sight, not for a second. I need to find a way out of here. For my sake, and for the sake of my crew.
Considering the themes that I had established for all of my previous designs, the obvious choice for the prompt light would be some kind of bioluminescent creature, but having the story take me above the surface opened up so many other options for this prompt, and I thought of light in its other definition, as in the opposite of heavy. And then I thought flight, and then I thought flying fish. This was, appropriately, a good exercise for me in dynamic lighting. Most of my previous illustrations for this month have been set in very dark environments where the light source actually comes from the character themselves. But for this one, I wanted it to be fully lit, an outdoor scene flooded with sunlight, and have the character backlit by the sun and underlit by the reflective light of the water. I was really happy with this one, and I really loved how it came out. It was a big step for me as an artist. I don't often work like this. So here's the lore for Terry Tide Rider.
The circumstances of this voyage have conditioned me to be wary when things are going well, but I just can't help but feel like I'm actually safe now. Part of that could be that I'm actually on solid land, breathing actual air, and yet I'm still surrounded by these strange half-people creatures. Don't get me wrong, they're all wonderful. There's Ilaria, who I'm pretty sure saved my life, though she never admitted it. And Terry, full of energy and just as interested in humans as Nephromaris was. She tells me that he and Mermay were forced to retreat back into the abyss after my escape. Apparently we raised some sort of alarm. I'm worried about the captain and the rest of our crew. As happy as I am to be here, we need to find some way to save them.
Bloom was another prompt that I wanted to intentionally subvert. Normally people hear bloom and they think flowers, they think light, and they think life. But in the context of marine life, blooms can actually be quite deadly. Specifically algae blooms that clog waterways with billions and billions of microscopic plants. These surges of life can severely impact the ecosystems that they infect, blocking sunlight, sucking oxygen out of the water, and even releasing toxins. As our story progressed upriver, so to speak, I thought that bloom would be a good segue into the new dangers that the characters might meet in freshwater, like an undead mermaid controlled by a sentient algae. This was another piece that I was incredibly proud of. The pose and the energy that I conveyed was exactly how I pictured it in my head, and that is always a huge win for me. Here's the lore.
In my quest to save the crew, Terry has advised me to head upriver to seek the aid of some ancient mystic who serves as a mediator between the humans and the people of the Abyss Realm. I'm not exactly sure where I am, or if this land is even mapped, but I'm determined to reach my destination and find some answers. You know, it's interesting, I find myself more comfortable swimming than walking right now. I'm still trying to get over that, but for now, I'll just stay in the water, I guess. Ilaria did warn me of a danger that I may encounter in these streams and creeks, a form of sentient marine plant that has been ravaging the local populations of fish people. The green drifters, as she calls them, will not respond to logic or reason. They seek only to drag more flesh down into their swampy, choked pools of sludge as nutrients to feed their collective singularity.
The last day of this week's prompt was drowned. I think on some subconscious level I combined the ideas for neighboring days in my head because my design for Bloom kind of gave a lot of drowned energy, but I had another idea for day 21, a character that would bring us back down into the trench. I realized that a lot of my designs have kind of felt a little too similar, so I really wanted this one to stand out. I mean, who says that every day needs to be a human and the top half and the sea creature lower half? That's thinking small. I won't jabber on too much about him, but I am really happy with day 21. A great way to end this week. Oh, and here's his lore.
Is it alive?
Well, that's one way to say hello.
What are you?
Come on. You can't honestly say that you're surprised to see something like me at this point in your journey. I'm assuming you've met the locals.
Yes, we have. And as gracious as our hosts have been, I think we've overstayed our welcome.
Looking for a way out? Good luck, sister. Unless you've got some magic device that lets you breathe underwater without having to be tethered to a tank on land.
We do, actually. It's called a scuba tank.
No. Well, now you've been down here a long time. Doesn't matter, though. Even if you could hold your breath long enough to make it to the surface, there's no way they'll let you leave.
Why? What did we do? What did they want?
Short answer, revenge. Misguided revenge. They're a little confused about who exactly you all are. But I'm not sure there's any way you could change their minds at this point.
I don't suppose you have any advice that might help us not end up a severed head on a sea anemone?
Never ask a severed head on a sea anemone for advice on how not to end up a severed head on a sea anemone.
Thank you. I'll get that embroidered on a pillow.
Okay. Here's what I can do for you. Look for a fellow named Nephromaris. He's got a soft spot for service folk, and the rest of the Abyss people already hate him, so he's got nothing to lose. He might be able to help you.
Oh. Do you want us to take you with us?
No. No, I've quite forgotten who I was before I came down here. This is where I belong.
All right, folks, that's it. That is the third week of Mermay. What did you guys think of these designs? Which one was your favorite? Honestly, I can't pick. It's between Nephromaris, Terry, and the Green Drifter. Let me know what your favorites were down in the comments, and to wrap things up, I'll showcase my favorite Mermay work that you guys have done this week. Honestly, some really great stuff, guys. I'm really impressed by a lot of this. If you want your piece featured in the next video, be sure to tag your work with hashtag MarianaMermay on social media, or share it in the Subjectively Fan Art channel of our Discord. The links are down in the description. Thank you guys for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next video.